Hello everyone, welcome back to the video lecture of software engineering. So we are discussing the topic that is requirement engineering process, and in our last video lecture we have the abstract knowledge about the requirement engineering process. So let's have a look into what are the process activities involved in requirement engineering process. So the process activities are, the first one is requirements discovery, the second one is requirements classification and organization, third one is prioritization and negotiation, requirement specification is the last process activities of the requirement engineering process. So in the first process activity, that is requirement discovery, we have to interact with the stakeholders. So why we need to interact with the stakeholders? Because to discover their requirements. We are developing the software for the stakeholders. So stakeholders means those persons who are directly or indirectly connected with the software development process. So we have to collect what are their actual requirements. That's why we need to interact with the stakeholders to discover the requirements. That means we need to collect all the requirements of the stakeholders. That phase is known as requirement discovery. Then after collecting the requirements from the stakeholder, the next phase is requirement classification and organization. So requirement classification and organization means what? We need to group related requirements and organize them into coherent clusters. So what actually this means? Suppose take an example. I am giving you lots of programming questions. Suppose I am giving you 50 programs to write. So among those 50 programs, some of programs are concerned about the if-else, that means branching statements. Some of the programs are concerned about the looping. Some of the programs are concerned about the pyramid. Some of the programs are concerned about the function, and some of the programs are concerned about the arrays and structure. So there is a bunch of programs, that means I am giving 50 number of programs to you. The first question is based on if-else, the second question is based on function, the third question is based on switch case and all that. So when we are going to write the program for that questions, we need to organize them. First we need to classify them, which programs are belongs to if-else, which programs are belongs to function, which programs are belongs to array and structure. So after finding what are the classification, which programs are concerned about which group, then we need to organize them. That means we have to classify which programs are based on if-else. If there are 10 number of programs, those are based on if-else, then we have to organize them into one group. First group is for if-else programs. So we need to collect all those different if-else programs to a group. That group is known as cluster. So when we collect all the requirements from the stakeholder, after collecting the requirements, we need to classify them. What are their nature? And based on the nature of the requirement, we need to organize them into different groups or different clusters. So after organizing them and after classifying them into different groups, then the third process activity is prioritization and negotiation. So prioritization negotiation means prioritizing requirements and resolving requirement conflicts. So we already have known that the requirement should be complete, the requirement should be consistent. That means if we have some incomplete requirement, then it is very difficult to have a software for the incomplete requirements, because we are collecting the user requirements. Then after getting the user requirement, there are some client managers and client engineers. They have to convert the user requirement into system requirement. And after having the system requirement with us, then we will go for designing. And after designing, we are going to write the code. So if the requirement is incomplete in the initial stage, then for that incomplete requirement, we will go for converting the user requirement into system requirement. Again, the system requirement is also incomplete because we have the incomplete user requirement. And by looking at the incomplete system requirement, we will go for design. Then the system architecture is also incomplete. Then for the incomplete system architecture, we will have to write the code. So after writing the code, when we will go for testing the software, there we will have some fault, or the software will not meet the user requirement. What my customer expect from the software, that will not meet by the software, which is actually an incomplete one. So the requirement should be complete. And how the requirement should be complete and consistent? By passing the phase, that is prioritization and negotiation. Prioritization means what? The previous phase is what? Classification and organization. We have to classify the requirement, we have to organize the requirement into different clusters. Then we have to prioritize them. Which cluster or which group is the highest priority? Which group is the lowest priority? Which groups are the intermediate priorities? So we need to prioritize them. That is known as prioritization. But negotiation means what? So negotiation means, take an example. Suppose you want to develop a software like WhatsApp, but you want to add the features like only chat room, or the audio call, or the audio chatting, or the status, like that. But you did not want for the video call. So when you come to the software developer and will ask, you want to develop a software like WhatsApp, then the software developer try to convince you that a video call should be there, because after 1 or 2 years, when you have encountered with different applications, like there is some chat room, there is audio call, and there is an extra feature, that is video call. So after 2 years, when you will ask for adding a video call in that existing software, that will be costly, because we have already known that rework means recost. When the work will be more, the cost will also more. So now we are developing the software, and now I am trying to convince you that you should add a video call there. So if you will be convinced and I am able to add a video call in that software, then it is a bonus. Because after 1 or 2 years, when you want some requirement, then I have already accommodated it now. So this is what negotiation. Like we people are going to market and we want to buy a 40-inch TV. But the salesman always try to convince us that you should buy a 50 or 60-inch TV. So that is what negotiation. So when my customer wants to develop a software and he has some limited features, then as a software developer, as we are acquainted with different softwares, we are trying to convince our customer to add some new trending features in that software. That is known as negotiation. So after having the prioritization and after having the negotiation, we will have a complete requirement. Then we will go for requirement specification. In the last phase, we are going to make the document which will act as a contract in between the software development team and with the customer. So that is known as requirement specification. So let's see what is the requirement discovery, what are the methods that we apply to discover the requirements from the stakeholders or from the customers. So requirement discovery is the process of gathering information about the required and existing systems and distilling the user and system requirement from this information. So the process of gathering information about the required and existing system, what my customer actually wants, the process in which we are gathering the information about the existing system or what is actual my requirement, and after getting the requirement we need to distilling the user and system requirement. So when we collect the requirement from the customer, that is in case of storyboard. So by looking at the storyboard, we have to extract the user requirement, and from the user requirement we have to extract the system requirement, and all the process that is involved from the gathering information to the extraction of user and system requirement is known as the requirement discovery. So, when we need to gather the information from the customer, there we must have the interaction with the system stakeholders. We have already known that systems normally have a range of stakeholders. So, in our last video lecture, when we have a discussion on the stakeholders, there we have taken the example of mental health care system. And in case of mental health care system, we have different stakeholders like the patient for whom we are keeping the records, the patient is the stakeholder, the doctor, the nurse, the medical people, the practitioner, the receptionist, the external regulators like your government, what are the norms and regulations there, the external bodies, the hospital authorities, all are the stakeholders of the mental health care system along with the software development team. So, we have already known that the people who are directly and indirectly involved with the software development phase, those are known as the stakeholders. So, as a system, we may have a variety of stakeholders. We need to interact with each and individual stakeholders to discover what are their requirements. So, the process of gathering the information from the stakeholder, after gathering the information from the story card or anything else, then we need to extract what are the user requirements there, what are the system requirements are there. So, the process in which we are doing all these things, this process is known as the requirement discovery. So, there are three different ways of requirement discovery. The first one is interview. We can collect the information by interviewing the stakeholder. The second one is ethnography, and the third one is stories and scenario. And we will have a discussion on only the interview and ethnography. So, let us look what is the interview process. So, interviewing means formal and informal interviews with stakeholders are part of most requirement engineering process. So, the interview may be formal, the interview may be informal. So, what are the types of interview there? The first one is close interview, the second one is open interview. So, close interview means it is actually based on predetermined list of questions. We have already some predetermined questions and we have to give that question to the stakeholders, and the stakeholders will answer all those questions, and based on their answers we will predict what are their requirements. The second one is open interview. So, in case of open interview, various issues are explored with stakeholders. So, we do not have some predetermined list of questions. So, let us take some example of closed interview and open interviews. So, let us a real life example, like after each and every term and examination, we actually gave some feedback form to you to fill up. So, in that feedback form, there are lots of questions like how was your teaching, how was your classroom, what are problems you are facing in your classroom, what actually you want to improve in your teaching style and all that. And you have to fill up all those questions. So, among those answers, by looking at your answers, we can predict what are your problems and what you want to improve. So, that is actually the closed interview. We have some predefined questions and we have to give those predefined questions to you, and you have to answer only those questions. And if you are facing some problems, like you have some personal problem or you are facing any problem in your hostel, then you do not have any option to express your problem to us. So, that is what the closed interview. But what actually the open interview? The open interview means we do not have some predefined questions. We will ask you, but you just tell what your problem. Then you can tell your classroom problems, you can tell your personal problems, you can tell your hostel problems also. So, that is the difference between the open interview and the closed interview. But what is the interview in practice? Generally what what type of interview we are following. We don't have to follow the closed interview all the time. We don't have to follow the open interview all the time. What actually we are following? We are mixing them. That means we are following the open interview along with the closed interview. We have some predefined questions. We have to give those predefined questions to the customer. Also, we have to listen the stakeholders, what are their requirements. So, the effective interviewing is we should be open-minded, we should avoid the preconceived ideas about the requirements, and we are willing to listen the stakeholders. So, from the interview to get discussion going using a springboard question, a requirement proposal, or by working together on a prototype system. So, this is the effective interviewing. We should be open-minded, that means we are following the open interview. We should have the discussion by using a springboard question, that means it is a closed interview. So, actually in practice we are following both the closed interview and open interviews. So, normally a mix of closed and open-ended interviewing is actually going on. Next, interviews are good for getting an overall understanding of what stakeholders do and how they might interact with the system. So, what actually it is saying? It is saying that we are concerned about the what the stakeholders do. If we don't have the system, then what actually that work is done by the stakeholders and how the stakeholders might interact with the system. So, interviewers need to be open-minded without preconceived ideas of what the system should do. So, the interviewers who will take the interview should be open-minded and he should avoid the preconceived ideas. And you need to prompt the used to talk about the system by suggesting requirements rather than simply asking them what they want. So, the last one is say, as a software developer or as a interviewer, we should suggest the stakeholder that these are the requirements, these requirements should be like this, rather than simply asking them what actually you people want. So, this is what the interview. Next, the next phase is ethnography. So, ethnography means we don't need to go to the customer and we don't need to ask some questions about their requirement. Ethnography means a social scientist spends a considerable time observing and analyzing how people actually work. People do not have to explain or articulate their work. So, social and organizational factors of importance may be observed. So, there may be a social scientist, he will spend some considerable time with the customer and he will observe and analyze how the stakeholders actually work. And that, so while staying with the customer, the social scientist should observe what are the social and organizational factors and what are the importance of those social and organizational factors. So, ethnography studies have shown that work is usually richer and more complex than suggested by simple system models. So, ethnography means a social scientist who is actually a team member of software development team. If there are 15 number of software developer in a team, among those 15 persons, one person will go to the stakeholder and he will stay with the stakeholder for 15 to 10 days. While staying with the stakeholder, the social scientist who is actually a software developer, so the social scientist will observe how the work is done. Without having a software or without having a system, how the work is done manually. What is the requirement of my stakeholder? So, while staying with them, he will observe what is the requirement, how the work is done, what is actually the motto of the work and how the work can be implemented by using a software. So, after observation and analyzing what is actually the requirement of the stakeholder, the social scientist will go back to the software development team. then he will have a discussion with the software development team that these are the requirements, they are doing this work manually in this way, and we need to implement these works with a system or a software, and what at the organizational and what at the social factors are there, what at the importance of those social and organizational factors there. So, the social scientist did not interact with the stakeholder, he did not interact with the stakeholder, he simply observed what is the work of stakeholder. So, after by observing what are the works, the social scientist may predict what are the requirements. So, let us see what are the phases of ethnography. So, the ethnography analysis will be done by the social scientist. So, after observing what are the requirements, then he will go back to the software development team, and there he need to debriefing the meetings. That means, in that meeting the social scientist has to debriefing what is his observation. That means, he need to tell all the software development team that these are the requirements of my stakeholders, they are doing this work manually, and we need to implement this type of work with the help of the software. So, after debriefing, what we will get the focused ethnography. That means, what can be implemented with the system. There are lots of work, and all of the work cannot be implemented with the system. So, what work should be implemented with the system? We have to list them out. That is known as focused ethnography. So, by the focused ethnography, then we will go for prototype evaluation. That means, we are going to have a demo model with us. That means, what work can be implemented by the system that can be implemented by a demo model, that is known as prototyping. And from the focused ethnography, we can also develop a system prototyping. That means, what should be a system looks like, what is the system architecture, and from the system prototype we will go for evaluating the prototype. That means, this should be system, the system should do this type of work, and this demo model is actually doing those work or not. So, this system prototype is also can be developed by using the generic system development. Generic system development means what? We have already some system. So, by looking at those system and the focused ethnography, we will have a system prototype, and by looking at the system prototype, we can evaluate the prototype. That means, what is the demo model, and how we can develop a prototype by looking at the focused ethnography. So, this is the ethnography and prototyping for requirement analysis. I hope you have cleared what is ethnography and what is interview. In our next class, we will go for requirement specification and how we can go for the requirement specification by using some different aspects. Have a great time. Thank you.